Alright, we're going to be taking a look here at the River Parish website, and most everything that we say here is going to be applicable to the NOLA website as well. There might be a couple of small differences, but pretty much if you know how to operate the River Parish website, you will know how to operate the NOLA website. So you come here to /wp-admin or /wp-login-php, and then you log in just like you would on any other site, and we come in here and we have our dashboard area, and it's not something that we're concerned about on this site, just like we aren't really on any other site either. But over on the left side, then we have all of our menu options, and these will be important. First, we're going to take a look at posts, and these operate in a very similar way to what you should have already been doing on the Varsity Sports Network website. If you haven't done any of that stuff yet, then we will go through enough of this that hopefully you understand the basics of what's happening. So let's say we want to add a new post. We click Add New. And then we have a place here where we can enter a title. It says Enter Title here, and so then we enter a title. Now we're going to say a sample title. And in here, then we can write whatever text we want. You can write it directly in this place here, or you can just paste in something from a document. If you paste it from a document, you want to watch out for spacing. A lot of times there will be some extra spaces between paragraphs if you're pasting from Microsoft Word or something like that. But when we're in here, we can type whatever words we want, and then they should work fine. And you can link anything that you want by clicking this little button here, and so you can go to google.com, or if you're wanting to link somewhere on the site, then you could say the beginning parts of something here, and then you have a bunch of stories that pop up, and you say, oh yeah, there's a story that I want, and then it's going to link to it. And then if we want to find out how this is looking, you can click preview at any time, come over here, and we see that we don't have any featured image in this spot here, but we will in a moment. And then we have our link down here, and we get to see what it looks like without ever having to actually publish it. We're going to copy these things here and then try to fill out the page just a little bit so we can show a couple of other things to do with images. I think most of the time then you all are going to be just dealing with the featured image and the galleries, but if you ever want to insert something directly into the page, you can click Add Media. I'll show you again. You just click Add Media, so you can click on here wherever you're wanting that media to go, and then you click Add Media. You find the photo that you want. A lot of times you're going to be uploading a new one right then and there, and then you can say Insert into Post with this button down here. And we have some settings over here that you can control. If you set the caption here, that's what the caption will be for that photo throughout the website. We'll show you another way to have a custom caption here in just a moment. And as we go down here, most of these are not things you will need too much of. The alignment and the size are things that matter, but a lot of the time you're going to end up deciding that you want to do that once it's already in the post. So we're just going to insert it as it is right now, not make any changes to it. And if we were to preview it right now, it might work or might not work. I don't know quite how to fall. So it happens to fall in a way that's not too bad. But probably you're going to end up wanting to do some sort of alignment. Now you could go to the left, but you want to be careful about going left aligned because we have a relatively narrow space for words here. And if you're not careful, you're going to end up having some words that hang out, just one or two words hanging out over here on the left. And so it's a lot safer not to do that. And if we start to squeeze in a little bit, we can probably see that. I guess not, because we have it set so that it'll correct that if you get to a narrow size. But you want to avoid that for the most part. And so going to the right is much better, or going to the center a lot of times is a good option. If you want to have your photo be a little bit larger, let's get this back over here to the right size. So I'm getting the full screen capture. If you want your photo a little bit larger, then you can click that little pencil icon, and you can make it full size instead. And then now that will take up the full width of that section there. And it starts to look quite a bit better being in that spot like that. Now we saw earlier how you can have the captions set from inside here. That would apply to everywhere on the site. Let's say you wanted to have this photo in this article, but you wanted to have a caption that was only related to this particular one that you're writing, and you don't necessarily want it to be shared elsewhere. You can type some caption inside here, and then that becomes a part of the picture as well. It comes down here at the bottom, and should look decent over here. Let's hope it does. Yep, we have to type some caption inside here, and then that shows up there underneath the photo. We have some other options. You have this toolbar toggle. You'll want to make sure you get that out sometimes. There are some formatting things you can do from here, like making a button. And then we have some colors that you can change and a few other odds and ends. All the normal word processing type ideas are up here, so you can center things, you can make them bold. You can make it be, if you have a section that you're wanting to have a header for, then you could have a header. You wouldn't want to use header 1 because that's really not supposed to be used except for at the beginning of a page. But then header 2 might make sense. Anytime along the way, then you can take a look here to see how those are looking, and we have some links in there that make it so that that's a little bit broken up. But you can see the basics of how that is. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't, and you can keep on changing whatever you need to change throughout that process. We have a few things over here on the left that we don't need. If you find that there's things like, I don't know what that means and I don't want that there, anything like that, or if you find that there's something missing you think is supposed to be there, that used to be there, you can click the screen options at the top of the post, or of any page for that matter, and change that at any time. And we're going to get rid of a couple of these that we know that we are not really using because we don't want it to be a distraction. And that should be everything. So now we're coming back down here. We have this place here with a shortened post title. And the shortened post title is what shows up on the slider on the home page. And so right now, well, that's pretty short already as it is. But we'll just shorten it even more and say sample title. And then we do need to have an excerpt, and I guess that's not on here, is it? There we go. So somehow that went away. So that came in handy that we just talked about how to do that. And if you ever want to move these into different spots so that it's a more natural arrangement, you can do that fairly easily. And so then we take an excerpt from this and we say, these are the words that I want. And that's what's going to show up on the slide on the home page as well. And that's beneath that shortened title. So we have sample title, excerpt. Then we have this gallery down here. And so if you have a set of photos that you want to have as a part of this, I believe this was already done before on the older websites as well, then you can add to gallery and you choose whatever photos you want. You don't have to hold down shift or control or anything. You just pick all of them that you want. And then now those are all there. You can reorder them. Just drag them wherever you want them to be. And then that's going to show up on the post here. Let's see if we can get this to go. There's our gallery. And now it shows up as this slider here at the top. Now normally you wouldn't have another photo right underneath it there. But that's just happened to be how we set up this post right now. They'll show up there, nice little slider to be able to look through all those photos that you have as a part of the gallery. Let's go over to the right side here. We have just a couple of more things. Oh, let's see. We don't have an author on here, do we? Well, let's make sure we have that. There we go. So you can also set an author at any time. It doesn't have to be the person that you're logged in as. You'll do that through adding users. We'll show you how to do that here in a bit. But then if you want to just set it as Prep Sports, then that can be the generic one. And that should be all for the author over there. I'll show you how to add that in a bit. And then any authors you have, you can add them on here. I don't think you're going to be having a ton of authors that you're adding, but every once in a while as you have a new person, you can put them over there. We have categories here, and then they are a little messed up right now as it turns out. What you normally want to be doing though, and unfortunately these are all merged together in weird ways. Here we go. This is really where you should be. I'll make sure we get rid of all those other ones. Then what you should be doing down here though is that you'll be saying, okay, they're part of River Parish. Everybody's a part of River Parish here. But then you say they're part of River Parish and then what school they are. So we're going to say, unfortunately I don't actually know who these people are. But we're going to say those are to Strahan. And then you say that's a school that's a part of, and that determines how they're populated on the site. And then you also need to make sure that you're doing the sport that they are, so that shows up correctly if that's ever being used on other parts of the site. And then that should be all. And then if it's women's sports, you'd have that as well. A lot of these are junk categories. We'll clear those out and make sure that it's not so confusing once you're ready to actually be doing this. There's the featured image here as well. And then you can choose whatever image you want. If you're having a featured image, then I think on this site that it shows up as the natural size that it is, I think. Let me take a look here real quickly. I don't know if you need to be cropping this or not. And it does matter for what you're doing. Yep, no, it's just the actual size that it is. So, oh no, that's not the right place. There we go. Now we're going to check this out. No, so that is the regular full-size featured image. So then you shouldn't have to do anything to it to make it fit any better or worse. It should just fit naturally on its own. Nothing more that you should need to do there. If you ever need to check out the different cropping options, you can click there, but they're not in use on this site for the most part. That's just about everything you have for a post. We're going to go ahead and publish this for a moment and then take a look on the home page so that we can see that it shows up there automatically. And then here it is. We got sample title. Type some caption inside here. Type whatever words. And now we can go click into it, and then there it is in real life. And those things all show up there as they should, just like what we showed them doing before. And we're going to move that to the trash now. When you move something to the trash, then it's not there permanently. It's only, or it's not deleted permanently, I should say. At any time, you could go back to the trash and get it back. And so that's a sample title there, so we could click restore. Or if we wanted to get rid of it forever, we could click delete permanently. And we'll just delete it permanently because we don't really need that ever again. And we do have Accordion Pro on the site. I don't think we're going to touch on that at this moment. We'll come back to that later. We're not using any forms on the site at this moment either. Now, if you go to pages, most of these pages are not things that you ever need to be editing. I think the only pages to be edited on this site directly through this interface is for the contact and about pages, I think. I don't think there's anything else. Let's look through here just to make sure. History is on there as well. And privacy policy, I guess, is there too. But pretty close to nothing on there that you need to be editing on a regular basis directly through here. And I don't think we even have anything in our history right now, it looks like. So everything within there works in a way that's fairly similar to what the posts work like. So if you know how to do the post, you probably will know how to do this. But if something changes with the way that that is laid out or the way that that functions, then we'll let you know. Or if you have trouble, let us know and we can work through that as well. For Food Gallery, I don't think that we're doing much of anything with that on this site either. No galleries right now. We'll probably just deactivate that plugin since it's not being used. Then we come down here, and football teams are indeed a big deal because that's what you're about here in large part. So we have all the teams laid out here. If you need to make changes to a team, then you can click on their name or click edit. You go into there, and we have a lot of different things that you can adjust. So these things are split up into these different tabs. And we have some of the basics here on the team details. And so we have a shortened school name. I don't think we're actually using that, but originally we thought we might be school logo. If you ever need to change that out, just exit out and click Add Image, and you can find your new logo. And we won't save this, so we'll be fine. And mascot name, the kind of offense that they have, their website address. You can always remove that and add a new one if they change their address. The defense, stadium, all this stuff. So you just enter in whatever the information is, and then it shows up on the site. Then we have the coaches over here, and then the coach that we have right now is Stephen Robichaux. We'll say that. And then if you want to add more coaches, though, then you can click that little add button, and then you can have a second coach. And you can go through here and get their title, get the basic information, get the image, all of those things. And you can do as many as you want. And then right now, though, I think they're only head coaches. We have the schedule and the record over here, and we have our seasons here. Let's get them all folded up here so that then it's easier to understand what we're doing, or we'll at least get most of them. So then we have all these ones here. The old information is entered already, that which we have available anyway. And then we can look through here, and then these have already been filled out, most of them. As you have a new game, then you can click the plus button and add a new row. Normally, though, you'll probably be doing it down at the bottom because these are going in that order. And I guess these have all been added for the whole year right now, actually, so you won't add any more at this moment. But then the results are not all filled in here right now, and we'll make sure they get filled in. But then we have the game date, and so you just choose out the date that it happened. The opponent, enter that in. The related story, the way this works is it just searches through the archives for something you've already created. And so whatever story it is you want to link to, then you search for it. And so we start searching, and then we can see in these posts here that we have some stories. We're going to pretend that's the right one for it. Choose whether there's a win, loss, or tie. We're going to say they won. and that it was 78 to 39. And then you can say whether there's a photo gallery as a part of this post or not. If there is, you say yes, and then the icon will show up there and link to the right place to see that photo gallery. And then if you need to add a new year, then ideally these things would be folded up here, and then you click add row, and then you say what year it is. And so if we ended up having data from 2010 we wanted to add, then you could say this is their overall record from that year, 12-0 and 0 ties. And then as you need to start adding in games, then you click add, and then you can do all the same things that we showed above. Hopefully that mostly makes sense. We have a little bit of other content here. This is, you can choose to hide the header title, not something we need on this one really. But then we have the page sections down here, and this is what shows up at the bottom of these team pages. And so right now we have these 4 things here, but there could be any number of things that you want down there. It could be anything, and it's flexible content. With these here, you have a place here that you put in the content itself, and it's just like what the text editor is. You can tell it looks just the same here. But we have a few other options as well. We have the background, and so you can add a background image or background color. And then we have spacing, and you can make it extra tall, extra short, but then down here at the bottom you can also make it so that it's not the full width of the page. So you choose the width, choose the height of the section. You can fiddle around to try to get the right height on there, and then but you see what's on here already right now, so you might just use that as a starting point. You don't have to enter that width if it's a full width section, only if it's something less than a full width. And then over here we have a couple of other options that are advanced that you don't necessarily need to worry about too much. And with any of these things here, you can click and drag them to arrange them however you want. And you can move them all around like that. And as we do these different things, we can preview the changes, and I believe they should still show up live. Sometimes it's a little more finicky when you're dealing with these custom post types than it is the regular post and pages. We'll let that load for a moment and make sure that we covered everything over here. There's a category over here that makes it to Strahan, but then you won't ever need to change that again in the future. I don't think that, I don't know if I can even tell whether it changed or not right now as I glance at it, but you can preview it anyway, and it should be able to work. And the changes you're making in here should be fairly intuitive anyway, so that then you don't really need to preview it too often. Once you're ready though, you have to click update. None of those changes take effect unless you hit update. That has to be a part of what you're doing. If you're ever wanting to add a new team, besides these ones we already have, you can do so over here. But if you're going to add a new team, then you're also going to need to add a space for it up here. So you'll probably be talking to us about that anyway if you ever need to add somebody else. Then, as we move down the side here, we get to scoreboards. And the scoreboards here are what show up on this home page right underneath the slider. Then we have the previous week's scores. That won't be something that you're really having up, I guess, necessarily right away right now, since you're since you're at the end of your time for the football season here. But these, click add new and we'll show you how they work. Again, we have some extra stuff here we don't need. And if you ever find that, you can get rid of it here. All you need to do up here is you enter the title. The title is like this right here. So we have 2018 week number 5. So then we could say week number 10 if that's where we're at now. And then you add a row here, and you just enter in all this information for each one of these things. And so then the home team was Strahan. Is it hen or han? You probably know already. Strahan. And then say what their score was, an away team, some school, and the away team score. And then if there's a story that goes with it, then you can find that story by searching here. And then we are going to click publish, and whatever the most recent one is what's going to show up here. So it should be, I guess we don't have it set to the right limits right now, and so it's going to show more than one. But it will be set up so that it just shows that one there. You can add as many of these games as you need to, and they'll just keep on filling it in. It doesn't have to be the 8 like that. If somehow you have more or less, no big deal. And we're going to delete this for now, because we don't actually need that one there. We're going to get back to table press here in a moment. We want to look at widgets here. Most of the things here on the home page are controlled through widgets, at least to some extent. And so we're going to go through those and make sure you understand the basics of how to use them. The primary sidebar, those are full of things that you don't really need to change much, if ever. We're going to ignore that for right now. But then for the home page, then we have, it's taking a moment here, sorry about that. There we go. So then for the home page, we have these things that say home, and I believe that everything that shows up on the home page that's controlled there, then you can see them all here. It should all be in this spot. So you have home left, and then it's going to go for this left side over here. We can refresh this so that it doesn't have that extra thing there now. And then you can see down the left side that these match up. You have revolution slider, and that's what's showing up as this slider here. And you don't edit this directly through the widgets for the slider. It's set up to be done automatically. If you need help with that and there's some problem, let us know and we can try to help fix it. But for the most part, you shouldn't need to adjust it. This one here is visual editor, but all that it's doing is just making it so that this shows up there, so you don't really ever need to edit that. And then we have this part here with more headlines, and it is what is controlling this section right here. If you somehow wanted to have more headlines or fewer headlines, then you could adjust that, but otherwise there's not a lot that you'd be doing in that spot. We do have the tabbed widget here, and that's where we have this Facebook part right here. And all we have is Facebook there right now. There had been Twitter and videos, maybe was the other thing over there, but neither one of those. The Twitter wasn't linked to a live account, and then the other one wasn't working either. So all we have is Facebook there right now. But if you need to add other things to these tabbed areas, then it's relatively simple to do. You click plus, and then now you can choose any widget that you want to go in that spot. So let's say you just wanted to add some more some text stuff in here that you just entered in manually. Then you choose visual editor. You could also choose some of these other things and make it so that it's an image, or make it so that it is a form or something like that. But you choose visual editor most of the time because that's going to be easier for you to control. And we make the title for it, and so we say some title, and then you can enter in whatever else you want to enter in here, just like you would on any other text editing situation. But we're not going to save that right now because all we have right now is Facebook. And you won't be changing that too often, I don't think. These up here are all for videos right now, but none of those videos are working at the moment. And so then we don't have anything else that's working there right now because these are from Vimeo, where you've since made it where they are not available to people without a password. So there's nothing in there right now, but at some point we'll be wanting to switch those out, I assume, with some site videos. And it's just text, just like we were talking about before, so you can enter anything in there that you want to enter in there. Subfooter, that goes on every page. That'd be like where you could put the ad there for that. Oh, and then we do have a visual editor here that's for this ad that we have in there. And then we have the standings here for the 2018 season. That's controlled over here through table press. Not my favorite way that we have it being controlled, but it works well for the end result. So you go down here to homepage standings. You can edit that. We have all the teams here, and you can put whatever number of wins they have in this spot as they change, and then you can move them up and down as you need to for those changing. And then you click Save Changes, and then that will become live on the home page. Down in the footer, we do have a couple of things, but I don't think for the most part those are things that you're going to be needing to change, so we won't touch on those too much right now. As we move down the way here, we get to users, and as you have a new author that you're wanting to add to the site, then you do need to be able to know how to do this. The username can be anything, not too important if you're just adding an author, so just some name, and then you do need to have an email address. It doesn't even have to be an email address that works, but you need to have some email address in that spot. And then you're going to enter in, though, the first name and last name, and that's going to be important for the author part because that's what's going to show up on the site. And then the password is set here. Click Show Password, and then you can copy that, or you can write your own in there. But for an author, it's not really going to matter because we're not intending for them to necessarily log into the site. They might, or it might just be an author that you just want to post on the site. You can send them a notification or not. When you choose the role, make sure you choose author. You add the user, and then it's available to have listed as an author for your post. As we work down the left side here, then that really ends up being about the last thing that needs to be done for this website. Oh, menus though. We need to look at menus, I bet, don't we? So we're going to look at menus here real quickly, and then on this site it's pretty straightforward. This is the footer menu here. As you have things that you want to add into this footer menu, you can drag them, and there's parents and children. Let's take a look here at our footer. We have a helmet down at the beginning of each one of these. Don't know. Yes, they are. Okay, they are done this way. So if you ever want to change out the helmet images here for these menu items down here, and I guess they're the same ones that are used up here as well, but we're on a different menu for it. Then we have this menu image part, so you just open this up and then you click add image, and I mean you could actually add any image you want, but you're going to be choosing something that makes sense for your context. And so then you can change that out and then click save menu. Most of the time you're not going to be doing much with the footer menu though. And then we have a regular header menu, and that is these little white text things up here. And you can add and subtract from there. They don't really support children right now because it would be tight to try to fit a sub-menu into there. I don't think any of those have sub-menus. But then you can add and remove as you want. It can be pages that exist on the site, posts that exist on the site, or if you just want to have a custom link, you can enter in the URL right there. And these things can just be clicked and dragged to wherever you want them to be. Then we have the header teams menu, and it has those graphics just like the other one, where you have the menu image here, and then you can add whatever image you want. So it can be a different image in the future if you need it to be. It would be good to make it the same size though as these old ones, or at least the same ratio, so that then that way they can fit in there in the right way. And that should be just about everything. All these things work essentially the same on the NOLA site. So then I think you can take this and then apply it to there. If you have additional trouble on either one of them, they are different installations. They do use different files. So then it's possible there could come some time where there is a problem on one and not the other. If you ever run into that, let us know. We'll help you out. We'll figure out what's going on. But for the most part, if you can do those things we spoke about right now, then you should be well equipped to be able to operate these websites. That should be all. So let us know if you have any questions. We'd be happy to help.